What's going on, guys? Glock Guy 226. Tonight, I'm just hanging out down in the man cave. Got my newest gun purchase here with me, and if you guys follow me on Instagram, or you watched, I think, my last video I uploaded, I talked a little bit about this and showed this gun. It is the CZ P10C. I've been waiting to get my hands on this gun for the past few months now. It seems like a batch of them got out into the wild, got out to gun shops, distributors, and everybody bought them up as quick as they could, and then you can't find them. So right now, I called every single gun store within a 2-hour radius, and every single one of them had these on back order. What I had to do to find this gun was put an ad up on a local, gun classified website looking for a CZ P10C. I got hit up by one guy, and first he said, yes, I have one. I fired 300 or 400 rounds through it. And I said, that's no problem. Whatever. What do you want for it? He wanted $575. So I'm not into the whole price gouging thing. I know it's a supply and demand thing, but I said, I don't want it that bad. No thanks. Then another gentleman hit me up and had this CZ here, which is completely unfired, brand new in the box, everything from the factory. $500. So I jumped on that as quick as I could. So far, I'm extremely happy with this purchase. Now, there are a few things about this gun that really jump out to me, and those are just a few things I wanted to go over tonight. What I'm actually doing right now, it's Sunday night, about 11 o'clock at night. I do have work in the morning, bright and early, but this is usually when I get my gun time in, my video time in, things of that nature. So I'm going to be breaking this thing down, kind of just giving it a quick cleaning and oiling. You're supposed to do that with new firearms. They do have preservatives and stuff on them that the manufacturers do recommend at least giving them a good oil over. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with the CZ while I'm thinking about it. Let's go ahead and break this thing down, and while I'm doing so, I kind of just want to talk a little bit about it. Now, to break the CZ down, it is very simple, much like other popular striker-fired guns out there. We're simply going to make sure it's clear, of course, which I've done multiple times already. Pull that trigger, which this trigger is amazing in this gun, guys. Pull back on that slide, pull down our 2 tabs there, and voila. Now, right when I got this gun, got it home, took it apart, looking it over, there are a few things I noticed, and the first thing I noticed was this barrel. Now, I have never seen a barrel like this in a polymer striker fired gun. Let me go ahead and get my Glock barrel out to show you guys the difference. Now here is my custom Loki Tactical Glock 19. I haven't had a chance to do a video on this yet, but we will be doing that very soon. So here are our 2 barrels. The agency barrel is, of course, my Glock barrel here on the right, and then the CZ P10C barrel here on the left. Now, right away, you guys should be able to tell the difference in how big the CZ barrel is compared to that Glock barrel, especially when you start looking at the feed ramp. It is ridiculous. That's not a bad thing. It is kind of heavy, but at the end of the day, I think this is a good thing for the CZ P10C. Now, another thing real quick I want to point out is the slide on the CZ. Now, CZ makes great firearms, there's no doubt about it. The CZ75 is a classic. I don't think anybody can argue with that. But a few things that have always kept me away from CZ, and I have owned a couple CZs in the past, like I said, they're great guns, they're going to work, they're reliable, is the slide. Now, most CZs typically have that really skinny, little tiny slide, and it's like, man, how do you manipulate that thing, The CZ P10C, it is a bit smaller of a slide than most common slides out on the market, but at the same time, it's nowhere near as skinny as like the CZ75 or even some of the other polymer frame CZ guns. Another really cool thing they did was add front cocking serrations from the factory. And sorry if this isn't quite in focus, guys. It's hard to get in focus in the position I'm in, but surely you guys could see the front serrations here. One really cool feature they added. The only thing I wish they would have done was connect those front serrations over the top, so when you go to grab the gun in the web of your hand, if you do manipulate your gun that way, it just gives you a little bit more grip. Now, I've been manipulating it just fine in the web of my hand here, but that is one feature that would have been nice. You can't have everything you want, I know, guys, but just if I had to overthink something real quick. Now, another thing that's kind of different about the CZ here, and hopefully you guys can see through the back of that sight right there, there's a little gap there. Now, does that make this rear sight weak? I'm not sure. Honestly, guys, it seems like it's in there pretty decent. I have racked it off of a table, off of a boot, just playing around with it to see what kind of ledge this rear sight has. But it definitely leaves it exposed for dirt, lint, crap like that to get in there. Is it a huge downside? Not really. Also has a captured recoil spring guide rod assembly. And one of the biggest features a lot of people are talking about with the P10C is the grip texture. Ergonomics of this thing are ridiculous. It just kind of molds into your hand, and from most other people I've talked to, they have pretty much the same opinion on that. Now, the grip texturing with the CZ P10C is outstanding. I have heard a few people say it's a little bit too rough for their liking, but what I have to say to that is get out and work a little bit, roughen those hands up a bit. But, with most Glocks out there, everybody wants to stipple their Glock. Well, that's due to the fact that the stippling from the factory or the grip texture from the factory with Glocks suck. The RTF2 frames are great. I really love the texturing on the RTF2 frames with Glock, but Gen 4s, Gen 3s, they're not very good texturing, hence why most people stipple their Glocks. I do not see that being a problem with the CZ P10C. Now, if some guys want to customize it, put some cool stipple design on it, that's great. Personally, I really don't think I'm going to do anything with it. Awesome texturing, guys. It's just a really cool thing that some gun companies are finally starting to catch on to, and I'm glad they did it with the P10C. Now, another thing, the CZ P10C is completely ambidextrous. There's slide stop here, and this kind of is more of a slide stop than a slide release. It's really hard to get a good bite on it to release that slide. Sure, you can do it, but like with Glocks, they have one of the smallest slide stops, slide releases, whatever you want to call it, on the market. And with the CZ P10C, it's just, you don't get the best bite on it. It does have, lines in it for a little bit of texturing, and you can manipulate it. It's just more of a dedicated slide stop, I would say. Now, the mag release. The mag release is also completely ambidextrous, and I have heard some guys complain about this, but the mag release is definitely really stiff from the factory. Now, I've sat here, just when I'm watching YouTube videos and stuff, and loaded a mag, ejected a mag, load a mag, eject a mag, working that mag release in, and guys, it is softened up a lot. Now, the P10C does come with two 15-round magazines. They're steel constructed, seem to be pretty tough mags. The only downside I see to this, and this is a big reason why I also love Glock, you can pick up factory magazines for like 20 bucks and sometimes even cheaper on the used market. These CZ factory magazines are anywhere from like $32 to $40-something a piece. Most places are sold out of the CZ P10C mags. I have a couple different shops and online retailers that are going to notify me as soon as they get some in stock, so I'll definitely be getting more of those. I believe you should at least have 5 magazines per pistol, if not more. I'd be more comfortable with having 10, maybe even 20. I mean, if it's a gun like the Glock 19 for me that I use for any defensive purposes, things like that, I prefer to have as many magazines as I could find or get my hands on. But to start off with the CZ P10C, I'll probably get about 5 mags. Now, this has one of the nicest triggers I have personally ever felt come from the factory on a stock gun. I hear a lot about the Walther PPQ, and that's something I will look into here in the future. Now, the CZ trigger is a very unique trigger. It almost comes off as a flat face trigger. It does have the trigger safety in there, much like a Glock, but when this thing is in your hand, you kind of get the same feel of a flat face trigger, while it does have a little bit of a curve to it. So let's go ahead and show you guys what this trigger can do. Press our safety, take up, and there's our wall. So once we get to our wall, it is about a 4.5 to 5 pound brake. I have thrown my trigger gauge on it to see, but this brake is super clean. Very clean, and the reset is very minimal. There is our reset. So this trigger, guys, coming from a factory gun, amazing. The CZ P10C trigger definitely is up there with some of the best triggers coming out of the factory on a stock gun. Now, like I mentioned, the Walther PPQ is something I've heard a lot about. I have kind of handled them in gun stores and stuff, but it's definitely something I will be looking into here in the near future. I would like to pick one up to review here on the channel and kind of see for myself what they really can do. Now, one thing I did notice with the CZ P10C, and I don't know if this is all CZ firearms, if you guys are CZ owners, comment down below. But, you know, when you go buy a Glock or pretty much any other firearm on the market, when you buy it brand new, in that little box that's from the factory, they include those either 1 or 2 shell casings, you know, from the test fire at the factory. With this CZ, they included a target, and I think it had 5 shots, and it wasn't the actual target. It was like a computer printout of the target where they test fired this gun, and it has, you know, the actual serial number of this gun. It was just really cool. Now, I got my Glock back from Loki Tactical, or the Slide anyway, sometime in the last 2 weeks. Well, I haven't had a chance to go shoot. Work has been so busy. I've had so much going on after work, kids, whatnot. And this weekend, I had it all planned out. I was like, man, I'm running the Loki Friday, or it was either Thursday or Friday. I went and picked up the CZ P10C. I have some stuff I need to test on the Benelli. Pretty much a lot to do out at the range, guys, which we are going to get to here. Believe me, I cannot wait to get out to the range. I was going to go this weekend, I had big plans. Then my wife actually went to Canada with her mother for a makeup convention. So I stayed home with the kids and watched the kids, and we had a fun weekend. I can't say we didn't. It's always a good time getting to spend time with the kids. This week, one day after work, I'm definitely going to be loading up my targets, coming home, grabbing all my guns and ammo, and hitting the range. Even if it's for 2 hours, I will be getting out to the range. Definitely going to run this thing. Get some reviews going on these. But I really just want to give you guys some first impressions, more or less, on the CZ P10C. Another thing I have found out, and I've seen so many reviews that talk about this specific subject with the P10C, holsters. Now, I've heard people say that this will fit a Glock 19 holster, and I've heard people say it won't. What I've kind of come to find out with that, it more or less seems like the P10C will fit more commercial type holsters for the Glock 19 versus custom, full custom Kydex holsters. Now, I do have, I believe, 1 or 2 holsters that the P10C does work in, and then I have a huge handful of other holsters that it will not. Now, I do have a holster coming in this next week, I want to say in the next 2 or 3 days, from Spider Concealment, that is a dedicated holster for the P10C, so I'm very excited about that. Spider Concealment's going to be sending in quite a few rigs from my understanding, and we'll be getting some testing, reviews on that stuff as well. Now, another thing I got in last week, and this week coming up, I should have some awesome stuff coming my way from a few different companies to review. One of the things I got, and I think it was on Thursday or Friday, was a whole bunch of this G2 Research RIP ammo. They also included some of the other stuff. I think it's TELOS, more or less like a controlled frangible round. They're both 92 grain. The RIP is actually 92.4 grain 9mm. Review ammo, yes, but I'm not like a TN Outdoors type of ammo reviewer. I don't have endless amounts of ballistics gel. I don't have a chronograph. Pretty much I am going to do function testing with this stuff, see how it cycles in multiple different guns. I'll probably be shooting some meat with it, maybe blowing some fruit up. I'm not sure yet. I'm trying to get my hands on some ballistics gel, and I may end up whipping some up myself. I've seen where you can do it at home. I've never really attempted it. I've looked into it many times, but I've never attempted it myself. Now, with the G2 Research ammo, I've heard so many guys say it's a gimmick, and personally, that's what I have always thought. When I see this stuff on the gun store shelf, a box of 20 for $40, I'm like, man, give me some Spear Gold Dots or some Federal HSTs, and I'm happy. I'm good to go. But when they offer to send some out to do a review on and pretty much get to see for myself how this stuff performs, I'm not going to turn that down. So I'm excited to be reviewing that out and checking it out and bringing that to you guys here on the channel. Well, guys, that concludes our little talk tonight. I got the CZ P10C all lubed up, ready to hit the range. As for right now, I am running the Surefire XC1 on the P10C, and it is a good fit. I do like it so far. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Have a good night, guys.
This is a Chuki Beats production.